So let me tell you a story. This story is called Once Upon a Time, There Was a Game Publisher Who Worked with a Different Game Developer to make a really cool game called Bloodborne. And it got a whole lot of great reviews, it sold really well, and it got a lot of people really invested in the future of that developer, of the franchise, of the platform that it was exclusive to. And people continued to do everything they could to make the game as good as possible for as long as possible, even if the publisher wasn't going to do anything about it. And now that the publisher has made clear that they're not going to do anything about it ever, and the fans are like, all right, well, green light to go full speed ahead with doing this ourselves, and now people are getting mad at the gamers for doing that instead of the publisher for not supporting the product that people openly want. That's what this story is called. So the other day, Digital Foundry posted a video about Bloodborne being emulated, because there is a lot of progress being made with emulated Bloodborne on PC through Shad PS4 or Shade PS4. I don't know exactly how you pronounce the emulator. But here's the big old feature list of how Bloodborne is looking on PC right now. And I have to ask, once again, Sony, I am once again asking for why are you not doing this yourself and making a bunch of money off of it? I mean, on one hand, kudos to Sony, I guess, for not like throwing the cease and desist letter at these people like, you know, other companies like Nintendo and Take-Two would. But then again, I don't even know if that deserves kudos, because part of me just thinks Sony is too oblivious to even know this is going on. This is the same company that put billions of dollars into a whole bunch of live service games nobody asked for, and it's the same company that continues to ignore any and all demand from their audience for old IP to be revived, or for their third-person action stealth mechanics formula to be updated or changed or have some variety. Basically, Sony is so out of touch with their own consumer base that I'm pretty sure that they don't even know this is happening. So, you know, kudos for being horrible at paying attention, I guess. This is the first and only time I'm going to say good job for not paying attention, Sony. But can we just talk about how Sony is absolutely inept in the modern gaming industry? This is the company that apparently has been blowing up their budget so hard that they can't turn a significant profit off of single-player games anymore. This is the same company that decided it would be a great idea to promote their new console, the PlayStation 5, with a whole bunch of technical features that would rarely actually be met, and then they're going to not drop the price for 4 years, and then also, hey, surprise, here's a $700 version of the console that actually will get the promises we kept for the original console, except surprise sub 1080p and surprise more 30 FPS caps. This is the same company that continues to raise the price of things that you're already paying for, like PS Plus, even though you shouldn't have to pay for PS Plus at all. Basically, this is a company that wants to make as much money as humanly possible off as little work and as little risk as humanly possible, and yet they are not doing anything with Bloodborne, the game that they commissioned out of FromSoftware, and FromSoftware is more popular than ever right now. FromSoftware could put their logo on an empty potato sack filled with cheese curds, and people would go out and buy like 68 million copies of it. Not 69. That's too obvious a joke. And also, going forward in this video, I don't want to hear anybody say that this is not Sony's fault, or that the lack of updates for Bloodborne are somehow Sony's fault, because Miyazaki himself has literally come out and acknowledged the fact that they know people want Bloodborne on more platforms, and FromSoftware also wants Bloodborne on more platforms, but they don't have the final say in whether or not they get to do it. This whole situation is on Sony and no one else. But I want to point your attention back to the Digital Foundry video about Bloodborne on PC, because what do you know, a bunch of PlayStation dudes got upset that this exists. I shouldn't be surprised at this point, but I think this is just the most obvious case of you people truly not caring about games. There is a great game that people are begging to be updated, begging to be re-released. They are willing to do all of the work for you in order to get that. All you have to do is slap your logo on it and do the distribution. All the work is already being done for you. All you have to do is endorse it and assist with the distribution, and you will make buttloads of money and you will get so much goodwill from the community. And instead, we're putting region locks on single-player games on PC. That's a new one. I saw that this morning. Thanks for that one, Sony. You sure do care about increasing your range and player base, am I right? But people are still going out of their way to defend Sony at every opportunity, at every twist, every turn. We gotta defend the corporation. So if the players are doing the work for Sony in order to fill a gap in the market that Sony created for themselves, this is somehow the gamer's fault. Fanboys. Okay, let's look into this. Let's look into some replies we got here. Gabriel says, don't support this shit. Bloodborne isn't some kind of lost media GameCube game that got 3 physical copies scattered throughout the world, each one worth 85 acres of land, and in a live dodo, you can get it for dirt cheap. If you don't want to play it, don't. Wait, so there's a GameCube game that had a physical release, and copies are kind of scarce, because, you know, that's what physical release means. It means there is a finite amount of them. But basically what you're saying here is that it's justified to emulate a GameCube game because there's a finite number of copies, but it's not okay to emulate Bloodborne because there's a finite number of copies. Excuse me, what? And I'm fully aware Bloodborne is available digitally, but that's not the argument they're making. They're very explicitly talking about physical copies here. They have screenshots of physical copies. But let's just say that's not the argument you're making here. Let's just say that the argument you're trying to make here is that emulation is not justified because the game is available. We'll make the argument very simple. This game is readily for sale, therefore it's not okay to emulate it. Okay. Counterpoint, is it available for the people emulating it? The game is readily available for the PS4, playable on the PS5, but it's being emulated on the PC. So I ask you again, is the game available to the people emulating it? Emulating a GameCube game seems justified because it's not available to obtain. That seems to be the logic. You can't obtain it legitimately, so emulating it is okay. But PC doesn't have an official version of Bloodborne, despite the near decade of clear demand for it. Here, I'll boil this down even further. If your argument is that unobtainable games are okay to be emulated, that means it's okay for Bloodborne on PC to be emulated. That may not be the argument you're trying to make, but if you think about your argument for 5 seconds, that is the argument you're making, and it's a losing one for you. I'm okay if you make this argument because it means I win, but I don't think that was your intention, is my point. The point is, if you leave a hole in the market, you can't be surprised when the market fills its own hole. That could be interpreted in a very inappropriate way, what I just said. But if Sony is completely unwilling and uninterested in putting Bloodborne on PC, it's going to get there. It's not like the PC is incapable of making it happen. That's why it's so silly that Sony's being so slow about PC ports. The world of PC gaming is absolutely capable of just getting the console version on their platform and making it even better. Why are you not trying to beat everyone to the punch with these? Especially Bloodborne. It just makes no goddamn sense. You're sitting on so much free money. The demand for FromSoft Soulsborne games is higher than ever before, and you're sitting on what many people believe to be the best one and not releasing it on the platform where most of the Souls-like community is playing, which is the PC. Okay, let's just keep going. Let's go to the next one. This one's from someone named Astrobot. I wonder what platform you play on. It says, and the fucking asses are shitty. This is Google Translate, by the way, so it might not be 100% accurate. But it says, and the fucking asses are shitty. PlayStation games, nobody wants them. All these poor PC devils have to do to be able to play Bloodborne. I like to watch how they suffer. This game is from PlayStation and for PlayStation. It's from FromSoftware, actually, which is a studio that Sony does not own, much to your dismay, I know. But the game is not from PlayStation. This game is by FromSoftware. I would love to know what creative decisions or like what pivotal parts of Bloodborne were thanks to Sony. Because I'm pretty sure this was all thanks to FromSoftware, the game itself. Ironically, the only things that Sony have actually contributed to Bloodborne are a 30 FPS cap and shitty distribution. That is literally the only thing that Sony has contributed to this game. I would just love to see how you guys would react if the shoe were on the other foot, you know? Like if a multi-platform developer signed an exclusivity deal for a game with Xbox, what would your excuse be? You know, like what if Square Enix signed a deal to make an Xbox exclusive? What would you say? Like, the game sucks because it's on one platform. Well, there goes your argument for everything. The game's gonna flop because it's only on one platform. Well, evidently you don't believe that, so you can't use that argument. It's a third-party developer. Why are they making a console-exclusive game? Well, you openly advocate for those, so you can't use that argument. It's just because I want it, okay? It's just because I don't like that it's exclusive. Oh, so you're like everyone else. You're like everyone else. You're just being a fuckwad about it. Hey, idiot! Have you ever wanted a mouse pad that looks like this, or a mouse pad that looks like this, or a mouse pad with whatever you want on it? Novaproducts.gg. Code Joe from Seattle for a discount on a cool mouse pad with cool stuff on it, and the mouse pads feel really good, and you can do a custom mouse pad if you want. So you can make a mouse pad of just Tobey Maguire. Novaproducts.gg. Code Joe from Seattle. Here's a little 1-2 punch of responses from the Digital Foundry post. Adam says, I don't recall Sony PlayStation ever releasing this game on PC. Seems like piracy. And then Reynaldo Jimenez says, Digital Foundry promoting piracy. Dude, bro, buddy, I'm a big man with a big head in my what looks like a GMC Yukon. I'm Reynaldo Jimenez. Sorry, just this guy's been on the channel a few times before. He's a fucking moron. Emulation and piracy are not the same thing. Please stop equating them. Every time you equate them, you're just making yourself look dumb because there's literally court precedent that these are not the same thing. It is not piracy for me to emulate a game. It is piracy for me to steal a game, but emulation, what Digital Foundry is talking about here, the act of emulation, that is literally not piracy. There is nothing illegal about emulation. It is simply the act of running a game on a set of hardware that it wasn't initially released for. The software could have been obtained completely legitimately. Now, I'm not stupid. I know that a lot of emulated games are also pirated games, mainly the ones that aren't sold anymore, and that publishers aren't really all that strict about taking down because they're not making any money off of them anymore. But it's also not like ripping game content from a disc onto a computer for the act of emulation. It's not like that's actually difficult or even uncommon. How do you think emulation of this game even started? You know, how do you think this started? Someone had to rip the PS4 disc onto their computer, right? The game didn't just materialize on the PC, right? So it stands to reason that emulation and piracy are two different things. Please stop equating them in this debate, because whenever you console dudes try to take down emulation, whenever you get upset about emulation, the first thing you go to is piracy, which is an illegitimate point. Like, if the goal is to stop emulation, which clearly it is for these people because they have such an innate, like, knee-jerk anger response to emulation, if the goal is to stop emulation or to demean emulation, why do you keep coming back to the argument that legally isn't real? Ooh, you guys are so dumb. Oh, here's another one. 21 with a shark says, this is piracy, like when emulating Nintendo Switch. The game is available, just buy it for PS4, and it works on a PS5. I support emulation only for older games that are not available. If not, it's just piracy. My guy. This logic makes no sense. I support emulation only for older games that are not available, but for this game, you should go get it and buy a PS4. So, if the game can be obtained and the console can be obtained, piracy is not okay, but also older games, piracy is okay. And I'm only calling it piracy because you're calling it piracy. Obviously, I just did the whole rant about how emulation and piracy are not the same thing, but you seem to view them that way. But then your logic for viewing them that way is not consistent at all. I can go get a copy of Super Smash Bros. For the Nintendo 64 and go get a Nintendo 64 and play the game that way. But would you yell at me for emulating Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo 64? Probably not, because it's an old game that's not available. Bloodborne may be available now, even though it's exclusive to an older console that's becoming obsolete, but support of that console might end. Digital distribution of Bloodborne on the PS4 might end. And yes, that is a might, that is a possible, but it was just last year that the Xbox 360 went offline. If Bloodborne is not preserved one way or another, it will be in the same exact camp as the games that you are okay with being emulated are. That is why this argument against emulation does not work. And also, why the fuck do you care? Why the fuck do you care? You're not Sony. You're not the company. You have no financial stake in this. Why do you care if the players want to support the game and the publishers won't? Why do you care if people who want to play the game but don't want to give Sony money want to find an alternate way to play the game? Why do you care about that? Is it not about the games to you? Of course it's not about the games to you. If it was about the games to you, you wouldn't care that people are finding different avenues to play Bloodborne because you would think Bloodborne's a good game, or even if you don't like Bloodborne, it is a game, it is a piece of art, it deserves to be preserved, it doesn't deserve to be hoisted around like a trophy by a company that doesn't even care about supporting it anymore. If the corporation in charge of the product is not going to preserve the product, then we shouldn't be upset when the people who actually want to preserve the product do so out of nothing more than love of the game. And yet you're taking issue with this, and yet you're taking the side of the corporation. Fuck yourself. I've been talking for a long time about these. How about Shazib says, never have is seen an obsession with 60 FPS like this before. Most likely referring to the fact that a big reason for Bloodborne being emulated on the PC is so we don't have to deal with the 30 and sometimes sub 30 FPS gameplay of the PS4 version. 30 FPS is a fucking travesty to video gaming. I understand it was once the standard, but it shouldn't be anymore. And everyone should be in agreement that a fast-paced, real-time action game with very precise timing required for big portions of the combat, that should not be capped at 30 frames per second in the current year. And again, if Sony's not going to do it, they can't be surprised when someone else does it for them and doesn't give them any money for it. But again, it's so not about the gameplay to you people. It's so not about the actual games. Why are you people so obsessed with 60 FPS? I mean, I pay for 30, twirling my hair, so Sony notices me paying for 30 FPS caps and defending 30 FPS caps that I pay them for. God, just, you people are fucking insane. You people are insane. I don't understand. I don't get why we can't just be on the same page about the fact that games should be properly preserved, markets with years and years of obvious demands need to be answered to, because that's how a free market works. And if you don't answer to the gigantic cries of the free market, you cannot be surprised when you fail in the free market. Just, drives me nuts. It drives me nuts. That being said, I like Dark Souls 2. I've been playing Dark Souls 2, just on the topic of FromSoftware games. Did you see that FromSoft was updating Dark Souls 2 the other day? And it's kind of funny, because when I was playing Dark Souls 1 for the first time a few years ago, I was playing Remastered on Steam. Dark Souls 1 Remastered on Steam. At the time that I started the game, there was no, the online had been turned off. And then halfway through my playthrough, they turned the online again. So I got like all the messages and stuff popped up, and which, as I'm sure you're aware, completely changes the tone of the game. Playing Dark Souls 1 online and offline, two very different experiences. So I actually started the game over with the online working. So I rebuilt the character and started over just to see how different the experience was. And it ended up taking me like twice as long to get to where I was when I started over. Despite the fact that I was now very good at the combat, I now understood all the parry time and everything. I should have been able to breeze up to where I was. It took me like twice as long to get to where I was because I was reading every message and finding every fucking illusory wall that I had missed before, because so many of those illusory walls, there's no way to find them without help. And that's by design. That's part of the game. Part of the game is that there's these ridiculously unfairly hidden things that the other members of the community will tell you about in vague ways. Try tongue butt hole. But it just makes me laugh that halfway through my Dark Souls 1 playthrough, the online got turned on, and then halfway through my Dark Souls 2 playthrough, suddenly we're updating the game again. So I don't know why I went on that rant. I don't know why I told you any of that. I'm just gonna do the Doofus Club shoutouts now, okay? It's Doofus Club shoutout time. Join my membership, 99 cents a month. Doofus Club shoutouts. Okay. Biscuit 101 Firestorm 2056. I am currently working on Joe's persona. Be afraid. Don't worry, I am. Jessica Shepard, Chris Void, Pope Raphael the Rat King. Joe is secretly a furry. Where's your fursuit? Riki Spiral, Blast 1314, Techmanix, and Omega Muskie. I could have bought a Fredo instead of this. I'm glad you did this instead. Karumi the Steel Angel, you are a sad, strange little doofus. Supercalifragilisticexpialidocious. Smash Jump, Sergeant Jason Bond, Baron von Vaderham, the Silver Dragon, Cyrus. Joe said it close enough. Every once in a while, I have to check some of these to make sure I remember what they are. That PC mic vid turned him into Joe from a distance. Yeah, sorry about that. I'll be more careful about that in the future. Sensu no Kage, True Texican 940, Hinoga's #1 Saudi fan, Saving for a Motorcycle, Creed Warrior 23, Raptor 1, Max Chev, Devastator 2000, Wild Gamer 3001, Partial Mean 8, Totally Insane, Chap, YT only allows 2 name changes in 14 days. Yeah, I might rethink how I'm doing the Doofus Club, because I've been getting a lot of DMs from people being like, what the fuck, I can't change my name anymore, and that kind of kills the joke of the Doofus Club shoutouts. That, you know, the joke that you guys have invented for yourselves, because I didn't think this was going to happen. Yeah, I'm starting to brainstorm different ways to do the Doofus Club shoutouts, because I want to keep doing them. I want to keep shouting you guys out, but I want to make sure that YouTube isn't getting their foot in the way of everything. I'll figure it out. Vendetta, Altri, Vox Alto, Anon for Law, Night of Cypher, Black Cobra, Game Showcases, Cloaked Onyx. I own 6 copies of Click 2006 on Blu-ray. Rapid Mew with the fan art, Nick Ox, ML04, Don't Step on Snake, Gaming with Dead People, Wolf of Midnight. I read those backwards for some reason. I don't know why. Stick Rider, The Cunt Connoisseur, Kev Dog 1992, Pig Venus, The Beesom, Steve Wayne Studios, Film McCracken, Hero Culture, Tom from Spokane, OM Gaming, Tariq Brown, Joe from Seattle has a really big peen. Yup, that's still the same. Elite, Magnect, Thornskate, X Machina Gamma, Severin Evans, Mr. Spawning 03, Nick Donegan, White Trouble, Donnie Weston. It's the Catalina freaking wine mixer. Pow, pow, Gob Gobson, Doug Nigsy, Rogue Winter, Bobby Hunter, Hangman for Hire, Gesh Gosh, gosh, here it is. Here we go. Haha, Joe can't read the name. Gesh Gosh Bezjishikevich. I'm gonna be pissed if that was actually the closest it's been. Grimsy, Gabo P, Frost Crystal, Edge Knight 1789, Biogenesis, Eldun the Nooble, Jimmy Chops, Yeah, I Camso, Floppy Pingus 97, Ian in Action, Michael Musial, Mega Key, Jushka, Ghost Toe, The Scruffy Skull, Femtega, The Jojo 6, Ryusagi, Vasco, Matt H. I'm gonna commit a crime. I'm gonna commit exactly 6 crimes. Blue Hook, next page. Mr. Self-Destruct, Raptor Tim. Oh god, Joe has a big, girthy, and thick Steam Deck, you perf. Johnny Bravo, but voice acted by Jennifer Coolidge. Jody Breeze, Lego Batman games are great. That's true. It's objectively true. 19 inches of Venom is my new Marvel Rivals made. Carl Weezer, Snorlax, and Hey, it's Maddie, Diego Garcia, McAdvertisement, Demetrius, Papa Giorno, Kibikins, I American Idiot, Boofner, Curbside Anthem sucks. JK, they're great. Yeah, if you want tickets to see Curbside Anthem opening for the queers at the Whiskey Go-Go on February 28th, hit up my Twitter DMs or, you know, shoot me an email, my business email, because we have cheap tickets to that show. You can get them like half price from us. Rebel Blood 80, Stephen Christensen, All Games Video, Doofus Discord. Yes, join the Doofus Discord. Console Sims Tears, Binary Deviant, Raven, Bloodrod. Also, Joe, you're awesome. You're breathtaking. Joe, my dude, add me. My Steam is tech. I'm so sorry for all the Steam requests that you've surely gotten in the last few days because of that name. Oh, I skipped hentai. It's like hentai, except attached to your legs. Ranroy, Mechanical Resonance. I almost read that as My Chemical Resonance. My Chemical Resonance. Extreme the Wolf 7, Toonie Wayne, Joe Taco Puddintain, Joey Scoops, Jidge, Proud Doofus Club, Enjoyer, Gimme Dat Discord Roll. Joe from Seattle, featuring Oha Mark, Hoppus, Westa, Wanna Be Hobo, Blood 310 Char. Can't read the other day in a normal voice anymore. Yeah, that's my fault. Sorry. Veg, Rob C, Curtin Allen's pack. Invest in the Doofusy, not corpo-plastic boxes. Swax, Enjoyer, the Groovy Banana. Oh, goodness. Goodness gracious. All right. Thanks for being part of the Doofus Club. Thanks for watching through the Doofus Club. We're all one big family today. I don't know why I did that. I'm so sorry. Toodles.